You know, there's been some great content online lately from folks equipping us to better utilize our lever guns for personal defense. But there's one thing that doesn't get talked about very much, if at all, and that's the limitation of pistol cartridges, even in a carbine. But if you'll stick around for just a few minutes, I'm going to propose a solution for the 357 Magnum, at least what I hope is the solution. The 357 Magnum, the 44 Magnum, and the 45 Colt. But first things first. Hi, George here, and welcome to Tales from Target Suite, where I'll share my perspective on guns and shooting, and we'll have an adventure or two that'll make even a grown man smile. And I haven't done that in a while. But we are going to talk about those limitations for pistol cartridges. But the first thing I want to do is to say thanks to Ranger Point Precision for sending me this M-LOK handguard and the 8-round quiver, which helps make this Rossi 92 more suitable for personal defense. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. And one of the things that happened recently is that, speaking of Ranger Point Precision, Ranger Point and some others partnered to put together a symposium that happened up in North Texas. They invited a bunch of creators, YouTube creators, to be taught the finer points of lever gun personal defense with a lever gun. And I've seen quite a bit of that content, and it's really good. So I'll put some links in the description for that. But also, Wolf's Prairie Outdoors, that's hard to say. Wolf's Prairie Outdoors put together I believe it was an 8-video series on the lever gun for personal defense. And I'll put a link in the description also for Wolf's Prairie Outdoors, or you can click right here. But now let's take a look at the limitations to the pistol cartridges and what kind of solution I'm going to propose. So I was really struggling with how much information to give in this segment, and I think I'm going to digest it down to basically one reference. But there are several links in the description to other articles, journals that I have studied and researched to come up with the premise for this video. If you're interested in more information, then there are links in the description, so I encourage you to go there. But the one that was probably the most helpful, and names that you will at least understand where they come from an article and a YouTube video. Now the wind's going to pick up. That was posted by Chris Baker at Lucky Gunner Ammo, and he interviewed 2 engineers from Federal Ammunition, and Johan Bowden and Chris Lack. And Johan Bowden made the argument, and it's supported by the rest of the research that I did, made the argument that below 2,200 feet per second, bullets perform at one level of effectiveness. And then above 2,200 feet per second, bullets begin to perform as rifle bullets. And this is really independent of what kind of cartridge the bullets come out of, because the tissue doesn't know, did the bullet come out of a 38 Special or out of a 300 Win Mag. All it knows is what the velocity is of the bullet going through the tissue. And so if we can take our pistol caliber cartridges in our carbine, like the 357 Magnum, the 44 Magnum, and the 45 Colt, and we can somehow get the velocities to exceed the 2,200 feet per second threshold, then our carbines become much more effective personal defense weapons. And so the problem is, if you take most jacketed pistol bullets and you get too fast, then they self-destruct in tissue and they become ineffective. So the challenge was to find a bullet for each of those 3 cartridges where we can exceed the 2,200 feet per second, plus the loads necessary to generate the speeds. And so all of that came from Lehigh Defense. So we've got 3 bullets. One is going to be the 105 grain control fracturing bullet in the 357 Magnum. The next one is going to be for 44 Magnum is going to be the 125 grain FTM bullet, fluid transfer monolithic design bullet. And then for the 45 Colt, we've got the 135 grain FTM bullet. All three bullets are very light for caliber. And the load data that I've used, because all these are hand loads that we're going to test, the load data came from Lehigh Defense. These aren't my own loads that I have worked up. They come straight from Lehigh Defense. And so you can find them on their website. So the question is, can we take those solid copper bullets, which are not limited on the high end of velocity, because they're designed to 4,000 feet per second maximum. The question is, can we actually get them to the 2,200 foot per second threshold? And right now, I'm going to set up the lab radar over here and see if we can pick up the velocity from these three cartridges. I can tell you, it's a little bit difficult because all three of them have an open base, and it is harder for the Doppler signal from the lab radar to bounce off of that open base of that bullet, that hollow cavity base, and get enough information back to register on the lab radar. But we're going to give it a try here, set the camera up and the lab radar, and see what we can find out. $23.77. 23.55. 23.98. Okay, I've had trouble with the 44 Magnum, and this is the 125 grain Lehigh Defense. I've sure had a problem with this, and I don't know why, but the lab radar is having a hard time picking this up, as well as the 45 Colt. So we'll give it a try. I'm going to give it 3 bullets, but I do have 2 other sessions with the lab radar, and so even if we can't pick something up here, I can tell you what those numbers are, if you trust me. But maybe we'll pick them up this time. Nope, nothing that time. It says acquisition error, could not track the projectile. Oh, we got one. 2482. And 2460. So we got 2 data points that time on the 44 Magnum. Awesome. So this is the 45 Colt, is the one that that I was most excited about, because the diameter of the bullet is so big, and it's shooting a very light for caliber bullet. 135 grains versus 250, which is the normal. And let's see if we can pick it up velocity this time. You know, one thing, it sure does kick. More so than the 357 or the 44 Magnum. All right, let's try some more. Anything for you guys. But again, I do have data from previous sessions with the lab radar that I can share with you if we can't get any to show up here on camera. 2613. Well, I'm going to leave it there with that one data point on the 45 Colt, 135 grain Lehigh Defense. Wow, I've got a feeling that's going to be the star of the show down there on the ballistic gel. So let's head down there now and see what happens. Well, I've got a new setup here for my gel blocks, and number one, I've got some foam underneath the gel blocks. The idea is that when you shoot a bullet into this first block and you get the violet expansion inside, there's a downward expansion component, and it's that which causes the blocks to flip and then wind up in the dirt. And so I'm hoping that by putting a foam layer underneath here, the foam will absorb that expansion, and the block will stay basically right there. But I also have 4 layers of denim right there. And if we are talking about personal defense, then there is going to be some level of material involved. So let me get set up now and let's shoot 44 Magnum, 45 Colt, and 357 Magnum in that order. Okay, well, you've seen the slow-mo. At least I hope you have, and I have not. But I am pleased with how that front bag or that front block stayed in place and didn't flip off out into the mud. So, you YouTubers that use ballistic gel, you heard it first here. Put some foam under your first gel block. But now let's get down there and take a close look at those 3 bullets. Well, I got to tell you, it was a great day, and what a fun video to make. I kind of hoped that we would find some good news about increasing the potential of pistol cartridges in our lever guns for personal defense. And I'm not sure that this 45 Colt Lehigh Defense bullet, 135 grain, FTM bullet at 2,600 plus feet per second wouldn't turn out to be a really good hunting bullet as well. My goodness. Probably a little bit of work to do before I could declare such a thing. But anyway, it was fun, and the 45 Colt did turn out to be, I think, the winner. But over-penetration is something that everyone has to take into consideration based on their circumstances. And so both the 45 and the 44 caliber bullets penetrated quite a ways. With that said, the 105 grain control fracturing bullet did much better in that sense, and it still gave a pretty good initial expansion, I'll say, in the ballistic gel. And so I think even that would be a good choice. So more work to do there, I think. But I want to say thanks to, first of all, I want to say thanks to my patrons. You guys and girls have, almost all of you, has stuck with me through the time I took off for family reasons, as I mentioned before, and the fact that you would do that, even though I wasn't producing content for several months, it warms my heart, and I am thankful. It's hard for me to say the words, but I'm just going to say it. Thank you very much. But I also want to say thanks to Ranger Point Precision for providing the M-LOK handguard for the Rossi R92 and for the quiver as well. And I have done quite a bit of work with that package already, and I will be uploading another video with more from more of a mechanical perspective on the lever gun for personal defense, and I'll be using that Rossi and the M-LOK handguard. So again, thank you, Ranger Point Precision, for that. So what else can I say? Oh yes, if you haven't already, please hit subscribe, and then if you click on that little bell, YouTube says you'll get notified every time I upload a new video. And I used to say usually on Tuesday, but I'm not sure yet if I'm going to go back to Tuesdays or not. This Friday format seems to work pretty good with my travel schedule these days, and so for now I'm going to try to get a video uploaded on Fridays, and it may be every other Friday, maybe every Friday. So we still have some logistical things to work out here. But in any case, I'd like to say I'm back as long as the Lord wills, and I'll be making content. With that said, I will see you in the next video.